Thursday night, we're rolling real quick to the end of what God's been doing this week. And if you haven't been with every meeting has been absolutely a wonderful blessing.
Amen.
And we've seen God work. Amen. So praise the Lord for that. Let's go ahead and be seated for a few moments, and then we'll have a word of prayer. Thank you. I like to see what the Lord has been doing in people's lives through the preaching this week. So if the Lord has touched you in any, hey, brother, Lord. Charles pick on you all the time. Sure, he will. Amen. If you have, if you have anything tonight that you'd like to share with us, so we can be encouraged that the Lord has done for you in your life through the preaching this week. I know I've been blessed and I've learned some more things. It just seems like in all the years I've been studying the Bible, there's always something that God shows me.
Amen.
Amen. And praise the Lord for a man who's been preaching the word how many years?
45, June before.
45 years. We're like in Texas, 45. 45 years. Amen. Isn't that neat? Been studying the Word of God. It's nice to know that we have somebody preaching that studies the Word of God. Amen. So somebody, just tell me, yes, Brother Ron.
Well, I always love to hear a man preaching about the course of King James.
Amen.
And the first way for me to leave, preach something else.
Yeah, amen.
But I love to come here and hear the Bible preached, and the preaching has been like good to my soul.
Amen.
I really enjoy it. And I'm like you, I like to learn things when I hear a man preach. I like to go away with more spiritual knowledge than I had when I got there.
Amen.
In my case, sometimes it's not too hard to do. But,
Amen.
it's really been a blessing for me to be here this week. And I just, since anybody get in touch, I have. And I appreciate it, the preaching and coming here and all of our friends here. And so I thought, well, I get a chance, I want to speak up. So
Amen.
that's what I wanted to do. And while I'm talking, I asked for prayer for my mother, and she has made an incredible improvement.
Praise the Lord.
And I talked to her today, later this afternoon, and she said, the doctor said she improved so much, he's going to use her for his poster child.
Wow.
So, he doesn't necessarily, I don't know anything about the surgeon or doctor, but I don't know if he or she knows anything about the power of prayer, but I believe in it. And people here praying, of course, they're praying in her mom's church as well. And she's made this drastic improvement more than they could have imagined. So, I appreciate it.
Amen. Seems like, I don't know if you recognize it, but God answers prayer.
Amen.
Can I use some of that later, sir?
Sure.
Praise the Lord. And anybody else tonight? Lysol for Sergio came right here after work, isn't that neat? Yes, where's your husband?
He needs prayer in his back.
You gotta stop beating up on him, sure.
The message Monday night especially touched me.
needed this week, amen?
Amen.
Brother James.
I'll try to be quick. So I appreciated the message that we heard this week about the root of bitterness and how it's deep. And you can't, one thing I was thinking about was, we've done yard work a couple of days here and there. Sometimes when you want to clear a spot to put a new plant, right, one of the biggest problems is the roots. And I thought about, if somebody was to come into this church, and we had roots of bitterness everywhere, it's really nowhere to put somebody, and they're not gonna be able to take them through the day. Wow. It's already in the house of God. So, I was thinking about that, it was a blessing, and, there's actually somebody that I haven't seen in about probably 11 years. Well, we lived over in Ireland Street, our house caught fire, and we had some issues, right, and we couldn't get a hold of the landlord, we ended up breaking the lease, and we left, right, and now on good terms, I went about house back, and they would give it to me. Long story short, we just separated and never saw it again. And then tonight, I went to go to the convenience store, and the landlord was standing there. And I had forgotten all about this person. They didn't see me, I don't think, but I was like, I don't know, from my heart, I forget that person. I completely forgot that they not necessarily they were far from my conscious mind. I was thinking that sometimes those things happen, yeah, you might forget, but you never make a problem. So even that, reaching back to those aspects of your life that you may not have really thought about in the forefront lately, still impact you today. So I thank the Lord for thanking them, for showing us a few messages, how to be circumspectly in our lives to make sure we don't have those things. And we do trust in the Lord and have him help us to do it.
Amen. Great messages on bitterness, huh? Praise the Lord. Christians should not have. Brother Frank.
The messages all this week have been absolutely fantastic, and I don't know if you were giving him notes, Pastor, just to pass on about me the whole time.
Yes.
He's been doing a good job.
Protective.
Between the bitterness and the being bought with a price, and on and on and on, it's just they get home repetitively, and it's exactly what I needed. I don't know about anybody else, and the Lord's been doing it fantastically, smacking me upside the head. And each night it's been a little harder to get here because the fight's been a little bit more inside. Just, I'm tired today. I don't feel good today. You know what? And I get about that far before I go, no, and then I go get dressed. And just the harder the fight, the better the blessing. And because it's just the more the enemy just doesn't want us to be.
That's right.
And I absolutely love the way that these messages have not been milk. There's been a lot of meat in them. And that's a huge blessing because he doesn't know us, except what he just met this week. So he doesn't know where it came. That's the Lord.
Amen.
And I love the fact that we can start doing Sunday school. We don't go through milk anymore. That's all straight into the nice, good, juicy steak too. And it's a blessing because 4 or 5 years ago, we weren't getting that. And I'm not throwing stones, but the church has grown as a whole. And it's great to watch and be part of it and just praise the Lord.
I want to thank the Lord too, because this week in particular, God has opened the door in a relationship that's kind of, sometimes relationships just kind of fall apart. And for whatever reason, God has opened the door again, and it's been wonderful to be able to communicate with a person, amen. And haven't been able to do that for a while. And just praise the Lord for that.
Amen.
Oh yes, Sister Ruby. Who are you speaking of?
I want to thank the Lord that I was able to be here tonight. I had to be here kind of hot from later on Tuesday. And anyways, the messages that I was here for, especially the one with bitterness and
texting. You are a big guy, brother. I'm gonna mess with you. Amen. That's the other part. Yeah, we have a great church, though. We have a great church.
Amen.
Amen. We're gonna go, Lord, in prayer in a moment, and pray that tonight God anoints our brother. Amen. And brings us another powerful message. I've been so blessed by that, having you. I wanted to mention that I had an opportunity to go out again today and led Roy to the Lord. Roy is 73 years old.
Amen.
And then his, I think, nephew happened to be there. And Justin, 28 years old, accepted the Lord as his Savior. Amen. And so that was a great blessing to be able to be part of that. They even invited us into the house. Amen. I like going out with my wife and do that. We've been doing it for 100 years, so we just enjoy the possibility of somebody coming to know Christ as their Savior. Pray that they'll come to church.
Amen.
Please pray that they'll come. And God is so good, isn't He? Amen. Amen. I'm praying and hoping that God just continuously uses our church and helps us to add to the kingdom. Amen. He gives the increase, though. You have to trust Him. Heard you preach yesterday, saying that church over there, why are they running 2,000 people? And why do we run everybody away? That's right, because of James. King James. Amen. But praise the Lord. Don't forget, bacon's good for you.
Amen.
Amen. You got to pick on Mark every once in a while. If it wasn't for bacon, Mark wouldn't be here. Amen. I figured out how to stay healthy. Just talk to Mark. Helps your blood flow better. Keeps your veins up with bacon. Amen. And I'm not saying amen, it's okay. I don't. Yeah, when you mentioned bacon, Rachel changes her whole complexion. You know, I did learn something tonight. I never thought about it. We often talk about the Garden of Eden. That's when all the vegetables and things that Adam and Eve were eating, except for broccoli. It's fruit, so they were healthy. But what about Moses? You told me that tonight. I never thought about that. He had all the Pharaoh's food for 40 years. He ate like a king. And then God puts him out in the desert, and he lives to be 120. But he could have died back there at Pharaoh's table, but he didn't, did he? Amen. So maybe there's some truth to that, Rachel, you know? Let's study the diet of Moses. Amen. And then we'll have you teach a class on how we can have a Moses diet. What's that? Well, okay. I guess I better pray so we can get moving on. Amen. We need to pray for Heather tonight. She has a horrible headache. And y'all know she gets those migraines. It bothers me when I see young people suffering that way. But yet she still comes to the house of God. Amen. Praise the Lord for that. And there are other people suffering here tonight. Praise God that Ronnie's mother is doing better. And we'll pray and thank the Lord for that. And let's bow our heads and we pray. Father, we thank you so much for your precious love. Lord, it's been a good week. And Lord, for some of us it's been tiring. And Lord, some of us have stretched ourselves. But Lord, in that, there are blessings. And Lord, now we pray for Miss Heather, Lord. We thank you for it. That, Lord, you would touch her. Lord, take away this migraine headache. Lord, I know that she's a blessing and she's a servant. So, Lord, we pray that you just answer our prayer tonight. Thank you for healing, and I believe it's a healing. Ron's mother, Lord, and it always makes me happy to see doctors and other people amazed with how these things happen. Lord, we know that people pray. Lord, I pray for the folks here tonight, that, Lord, they would walk out refreshed, full, and, Lord, prepared to go up and doing the Master's business. Thank you, Lord. Be with us now as we sing a little bit more and get ready to hear the preaching. In Jesus Christ's name, amen.
Amen. Hymn number 255. I'll stand. Hymn number 255. We'll sing all three verses. 255. Praise
with this, Lord, and I just pray that, Lord, you help us to bless them. We ask this also, Lord Jesus Christ's name.
Amen.
Well, anyhow, I am so thankful the Lord let us meet Brother and Sister Hoos and be invited over to this meeting. I'm so thankful. And I'm especially thankful for y'all being faithful. Some have been here every service. I'm thankful for that. Some have been here as often as you could be, and I'm thankful for that. And to God be the glory for everything that's been done.
Amen.
We are just vessels, all of us are. And just be yielded to Him. That's all He wants. Amen. I want to invite your attention to Isaiah chapter 28 this evening. Isaiah chapter number 28. We're going to look at a little bit of an obscure passage tonight. It's one of those passages where I read through and I see it and then go, yeah, and then it slips from my mind. And then the next time I'm going through my Bible and read it, I say, something there. And I pause a minute and then, things go on. But then you go back to it on purpose. Yep. And the Lord begins to speak to you through that.
Right.
It's Isaiah chapter number 28. Look down at verse number 29. Isaiah 28:29. It says, "Give ye ear and hear my voice. Hearken and hear my speech." It's like he's saying, listen up. 28:29. 28:23. All right? It's a lousy light. Just like the building last week had a lousy light. The building before that, it cannot be my eyes. It has to be the building.
Amen.
Isaiah 28:23. Give ye ear and hear my voice. Hearken and hear my speech. Doth the plowman plow all day to sow? Doth he open and break the clods of his ground? When he hath made plain the face thereof, doth he not cast abroad the fitches, and scatter the cummin, cast in the principal wheat, and the appointed barley, and the rye in their place? For his God doth instruct him to discretion, and doth teach him. For the fitches are not threshed with a threshing instrument, neither is a cartwheel turned about upon the cummin, but the fitches are beaten out with a staff, and the cummin with a rod. Bread corn is bruised, because he will not ever be threshing it, nor break it with the wheel of his cart, nor bruise it with his horsemen. This also cometh forth from the Lord of hosts, which is wonderful in counsel, and excellent in working. Father, we bow our hearts and heads to you this evening, Lord, expecting great things from you. You're the only one that can do great things. Amen. Lord, I pray that you would help us tonight. Help me as I preach, and help all of us as we hear, that we'll take it to our heart and not try to apply it to somebody else, but apply it to us tonight.
Amen.
When it's said and done, we'll bow to Calvary and give you the praise. For you alone deserve it, in Jesus' precious name. Amen and amen. Thank you for standing. You may be seated. It's dealing with a farmer and part of what a farmer does in these verses. I do not understand anybody that wants to be a farmer. I've never wanted to do that. I don't understand why people would. He said it's God doth instruct him to discretion and doth teach him. I believe God's got to put it on a person's heart to be a farmer. I really believe that. I'm thankful for them.
Amen.
I'm grateful somebody's growing taters, eating broccoli. Heard the preacher rail against that. But the Lord is going to make a comparison here and ask some questions that do not need an answer. They answer themselves just by the way they are stated. And he talks about three things, or actually four. talks about, is it 3 or 4, the fitches. In verse number 25, the cumin, and then he combines the wheat, barley, and rye in verse number 28 and calls it bread corn. I had to get to where the light would shine down on it. Amen. So I don't have any library with me. I live on the road, but that's not an excuse. It's just, that's the facts.
Right.
But I have a pretty good Jameson, Boston Brown, and they're about my favorite, and I like Matthew Henry. I got quite a few things, but the fitches are a little seed that grew in a pod, and they were very small, and they were sort of like a sesame seed. You know what that is? 2 all-beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun. See, the light went on over your head. They grew the fitches. Then the Bible said he grew the cumin. That was something that was about the size of a green pea, an English pea, and grew in a pod or a shell. And then he mentions the wheat, barley, and the rye. And then he tells us how he thrashes each one out. For the fitches in verse 27 are not threshed with a threshing instrument, neither is a cartwheel turned about upon the cumin. Now, it might be pronounced cumin, but it's southern back. But the fitches are beaten out with a staff. That's simply a stick. He'll lay the fitches out on the threshing table or threshing floor. He'd take a stick, a staff, and it wouldn't take much work to crack open the little shell or pod. There was a breeze blowing, he threw it up in the air, the wind carried the chaff away and let the fitches fall to the ground, or as a threshing table. There wasn't a breeze blowing, he'd take a fan and purge the floor with the fan, blowing the fitches away. The cumin, he said, are beaten out with a rod. That's a heavier piece of wood. Took more labor, more sweat, more energy, more effort to break open the cumin. And then again, he'd throw it up in the air, and the wind would carry the chaff away, and the remainder would be there. But he said this about the bread corn, the wheat, barley, and rye. Bread corn, he says, is bruised because he will not ever break it, because he will not be threshing it, nor break it with the wheel of his cart, nor bruise it with his horse. The bread corn, wheat, barley, and rye are put on the threshing floor, and he hooks an animal, an ass, an oxen, a horse, to an iron-wheeled cart. And it takes the crushing pressure of that iron-wheeled cart driving back and forth across the threshing floor to break that open. Then again, he tries to winnow or get the chaff away so the seed remains. What's he doing? He's making something to eat. He's making something that will satisfy himself. He's making something that will give strength and energy to do the work he needs to do. Fitches are the little seed. To be honest with you, that's kind of like fiber. Oh. And the cumin, one use of it was as a laxative. You take the fiber and the laxative, you got trouble. Some Christians go through their life and never go through any chastening. Whoa. And some go through great heartache and great trials in their life. I'm not the farmer.
Right.
Thank God he is. Yeah. You can go out to the tomato vine, or as we call them in Texas, maters, Take a salt shaker in your pocket and cut that red ripe tomato off that vine. Wipe the dust off of it, bite the side out of it, pour salt in it. Stand there and eat till tomato juice runs, drips off the chin and the elbow. No. You can go to the apple tree. Pull a big red ripe juicy apple off the tree. Make sure it doesn't have any holes in it.
Right, right.
The only thing worse than finding a worm is finding half a worm. You can stand out there in the tree and eat apples, but you cannot live on them.
Right.
And neither can you live on tomatoes. God has a work to do. We are in a war.
We are.
It's not a Sunday school picnic.
Right.
We are at war. And he needs some people that can abide the iron wheel caught.
Right.
Yeah. See, you can't live on fishes and cunning, but you can live on the bread corn. That is the staple of their life.
Right.
Now, we went to Brother and Sister Williams' house tonight, and we began with rice on the plate. Because that's the Asians' staple.
Right.
They build all their meals around rice.
Right.
In Texas, it's potatoes, taters, and pinto beans. And you build the meal around that. But the bread corn, the bread is what they built on.
Right.
And he's still building on it.
Right.
Amen.
I like the song the children sometimes sing. He's still working on me to make me what I ought to be. We have been harvested from the field of sin. But that don't mean he's through.
Amen.
I'm going to preach a few minutes on the work after the harvest. Give me just a few minutes. I'm looking at the clock. It's 20 minutes till 8. 20 minutes till 7 in Texas.
Amen.
Good to go.
Right.
1, 2, 3, 5 thoughts tonight. The work after the harvest. You get saved.
Amen.
You're not going to hell. You are going to heaven. You do have a street of gold and a gate of pearl and a mansion and paradise. You do have fruit that doesn't have any curse on it.
Amen.
Grapes the size of watermelons, stick a straw in there and suck for 100 years. Yes. But just because you get born again and saved, don't mean God's happy with you the way you are.
Right.
When you first get saved.
Right.
He's going to work on you.
Yeah. Right.
He's got to knock some stuff off
Right.
and polish some stuff up and then add some stuff in.
Amen.
Number 1, no great thing not to have great trials. Well, Harold, I've never gone through a trial. I've never lost a close loved one. I've never had a financial reverse. I've never had a physical storm blow through my life. That's nothing to boast about.
Right.
Because you may be fitches.
Right.
The truth is, people go through their life. I'd say most people in most churches today go through their life and they never get above the primer in their knowledge of the Bible and the Word of God.
Right.
They never get above that. They never go beyond getting baptized and tithing infrequently. They never grasp faith promise giving. They never grasp door knocking and witnessing. They never grasp Sunday school teaching and vacation Bible school volunteering. They never go on in their life. They get stunted in their growth. That's not God's fault. No great thing not to have great trials. And it's nothing to brag about. You know, everybody in the Bible that you read about that left a mark in the sand of time for God went through great trials and great heartache. You read Paul. Night and a day in the deep, and perils of the heathen, and perils in my own countrymen. And he said, 5 times suffered I, 40 stripes save one. And Paul went through great things to get, and nobody likes that. But God looks at it as growing us up. No great thing not to have great trials. You know when I brag about trials? When they're over. When they're in the rear view mirror. Oh, you should have seen us out there with that flat tire. It's good. When I'm having a flat tire, I'm crying. Why me? Hello? When trials come into our life, listen to me, God has brought these into our life because there's some modifications He's got to make in our life. There's some things that need to be taken out and putting in, and He's got to bring us through these trials where we can focus on Him and be obedient to what He wants us to do. What we've got to do is yield ourselves to His touch.
Amen. Great.
Well, sometimes that's the hardest thing in the world to do. And here's the reason, because we compare ourselves among ourselves.
That's right.
Now, what the Bible said, it's not wise.
That's right.
If it is not wise, then it is dumb.
Amen. Right. Right.
Something not wise is dumb.
Right.
Listen, if you're following somebody and they go down the road and fall in a hole, and you go down the road and fall in the same hole, you are not too bright.
Right.
Learn something.
Right.
No great thing not to have great trials. The Fitches had one trial, the Cumming had another trial, and the Breadcorn had the harvest trial. And they were meant for different things. And God does use people that don't grow very much, but He uses people that's grown on in their life much more. And I want to be there. I don't want the trial to get there, but I want to be there.
Amen.
Number one, no great thing not to have great trials. Number two, God always gives us a trial we can bear.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so glad He knows.
Amen.
Some of you have been through valleys that would have taken my legs out from me. And I may have gone through some things in my life that would have drowned you. But our God is so wise, and He knows what each one of us can bear. And the Bible says He's not going to put more on you than you can bear. Now, we all think ours is too great.
Yeah.
Why? God, why? Why do I have to work this job? And why do I have to live in this house and drive this car? Be married to... Forget what I said. Why? Because we compare us. Because we either want to be like somebody or better than somebody, or brag that we are better than somebody. And the farmer knows better than to put the fitches on the iron wheel cart. It'll be ground to powder, and all of his work would have been in vain. He knows that the Cumming cannot abide the wheeled cart. He knows it can't be crushed, and all the labor, the hoeing and the planting and the weeding and the watering and the harvest would have been to no avail if they're crushed. He knows what you and I can bear. Thank God He won't put more on us than we're able to bear. You say, what do you do in the midst of this trial? I don't know, but I'm telling you what I ought to do, and that is to surrender to His will. Yeah. So you can fight God. You just can't win. He's a man of war, the Bible says. I wouldn't add anything to it, but you can't win. You can fight Him, but you're never going to win. The biggest and best thing you and I can do is surrender to the trial that He's put us. Because He's going to have His way. He's God. Not that everybody's the same. We had 2 children that lived. Our daughter and our son, and boy, they were so different, still so different. Our daughter has a tender heart, a tender spirit. Just about anything makes her cry. I'd come in the bus, Jean would say, I've told Leslie twice to get up, get on schoolwork, and get her bed made. She's messing around, piddling around, and I'd have to get a board and go in there and beat her. A little bedroom in the bus. I'd go in there, and all I had to do was raise my voice. That's all it took. Get out of bed, get the stuff made, and get the schoolwork done, and do it now!
Amen.
Should have heard that in the bus. Brad was different.
Yeah.
Board for Brad called Bubba. Bubba. My dad was very patriotic. He put on the stripes, and I saw the stars, and it seemed to work for me. Carried on the old family tradition. Amen. Not all Christians are the same.
Amen. Right.
Some folk realize they've got off track, started down the wrong road, and they just weep their way back to Cal. Others takes a lot of preaching, a lot of trials, and a lot of skint knees and stubbed toes before they realize I'm off the track. I'm off.
Yeah. Amen.
I'm glad he's smart enough to know what you can take. No great thing not to have great trials. God always gives us a trial He knows we can bear. Number 3, He keeps the pressure up till we let go.
Yeah.
You see me going in the bus, and Jeannie saying, now, you need to get on the kids. I've spoken to them a couple times, and they hadn't, she called it mother deafness. And sometimes we get a little bit God deaf.
Right.
Or we can't hear what He wants us to do.
Right.
You see me going there and saying, now, listen, Mama's so told you twice, and you get up and get this done. Don't make me come back in. And Brad's saying, Dad, I made the bed yesterday, and I made it the day before. I just don't want to make it today. Can you see me say it? Well, bless his poor little heart. You don't want to make the bed today. Oh, Lord bless him.
Where's Bubba?
I still got both. Lord, I went Sunday and I went Monday. I just don't feel like going. He was reaching down and saying, well, he just don't remember. Put a knot on your head, you have to climb a ladder to rub.
Yeah. That's right. Amen.
He's going to keep the pressure up till you let go. Farmer plants a big row, bunch of rows of corn. Boy, he does everything to keep the animals away from it. And he waters it and hoes it and prays the right amount of rain will fall, the right amount of sun will shine. And boy, I mean, those big old ears get out there. Huh? You drive by and see his corn patch, you say, man, oh man. He goes out there when it's just about time, pulls those ears of corn off, puts them in a big old tub, gets in the garage, tells his wife, put on a pan of water to boil. And I have tell you how you do it. You get 2 or 3 quarters of real butter. Not plastic, real butter. If you're in the country, you know it's real butter when you find a hair every now and then. You get a fork and you mash that butter up and you put salt and pepper in it. Get it all mixed up together so when it comes time to put it on and eat, you don't have to stop salt and pepper. You just put it on and eat. Honey, you don't get this big just looking at it. He sits down out in the garage with his pan of corn, gets a hold of the top. Boy, that stuff grows around it to keep the moisture in. God knows what he's doing.
Right.
It does its best to keep the bugs out and the worms out. He gets a hold of the top and pulls, and it don't want to let go.
Right.
He don't throw it away. He says, well, shucks. And it gets a little harder hold. He can almost taste the roasting ears now. And he gets a little grit in his teeth, and he pulls till it lets go. And that's what God does. He puts the pressure on us.
Right.
And puts the pressure on us till we yield what he wants us to do. I don't know about you, but I'm glad he does. I'm glad he does. Because a yielded Christian can be guided by God. The truck out there, I told you, I called you and he was praying for the fan belt. 8-1 and 500 miles later, 8-0. When that belt goes off that engine, don't charge the alternator, don't make the brakes run, don't make the power steering. Man, it's all I can do to pull that thing and get it through traffic and get it to an auto parts store where I need to put it. And if it's sitting still, you can't hardly turn it off.
Right.
But if it's moving a little bit, it's a lot easier to turn. That's what God wants of me and you. Get up and get moving. He can move you around where he wants you to.
Right.
No great thing not to have great trials. God always keeps the pressure up till we let go. He gives us a trial he knows we can bear. Remember, whatever this is, the trials are not meant to hurt the fruit.
Right.
You drive by that fellow's cornfield, and there's those big old stalks of corn, big old ears of corn out there, and you say, boy, he's got corn, don't he? You don't know anything about it till you get the shucks off. Because the worms could have got in and ate it all. The disease could have got in and not let any of it grow and mature. The outside is no indication of what the inside is.
Right. Right.
Man looks on the outward.
Right.
God looks on the heart. I believe sometimes we incorrectly judge people by what they go through. What kind of sin they got in their life. And they're having all these problems. It may not be that. It may be God's pulling garbage off of them because he knows there's something good on the inside.
Right. Right.
For years we was members of the Bethel Baptist Church in Grapevine, Texas. Same pastor for years and years, Brother L.E. Holmes, Dr. L.E. Holmes. He ordained my daddy at 63 and ordained me in 83. Same guy. They have two little mission houses. We get there for Christmas and move out of the bus in one of those little mission houses. And a family in the church give us a big old grocery sack, about half full of pecans. Jesus said, if you'll bust them out, I'll make some pie. I said, that's a good deal. So I got down on the kitchen table and spread some newspaper out, and I got the sack of pecans, and I got a bowl, and I got the trash basket, and I got a hammer, and I got my pocket knife out. And I take the pecan out of the sack and put him down on the newspaper, give him a big whack with a hammer, twist it open, put half the pecan in the bowl, and the other half muzzle not the ox that treadeth out the pecan. I raked the shell right over in the trash. Gina's over there rolling out the dough and making that sticky stuff that goes in the middle. I put one down and gave it a big old whack. When I twisted on it, big hunk of shell flew over and hit the wall, bounced right on the table. I said, Jeannie, get that when she sweeps. Put one half in the bowl, got the other half, twisted it real hard. Don't you like it when it comes out in halves? Oh, yeah. That big old half jumped out of there in slow motion, flipped through the air, hit the wall, and bounced under the table. Now I'm down on my hands. I don't care about the shell, but I do like the pecan. Took one out, put it on the paper, give it a whack, twist it on it, but it wouldn't let go. Did you throw it away? No. Got the hammer out and hit it again. It still wouldn't let go. So I talked to it. So let me tell you something, Doc. This hammer won't get you. I got one out in the bus and guarantee you get you. Had a 12-pound sledge. That house had a big old concrete porch. It was probably 2 or 3 foot deep. I could have taken that pecan out, put it down on that concrete porch, backed up just right, got that sledgehammer, and made a greasy spot on that porch. Because I'm bigger and stronger than you.
Right.
But if you do that, what could God do to us?
Yeah. Right.
But He don't want that. He wants you to yield to Him.
Amen.
Amen.
I looked in that sack, Jean looked in that sack. Her mind was going to become pie. I was right behind her. I said, man, that's a good looking pecan. We said, thank you. They did look good. But the pecan does not reach the peak and zenith of its existence until just before it disappears. At that moment, it's become the best it can be. Might look good in the sack, looks pretty good in the bowl, but just before it goes down, now it's reached where it can be. See, what's God trying to do? He's trying to get off some stuff off of us.
Right.
Because He sees something down inside of us that the preacher can't see, and your wife can't see, and your mom and dad can't see, and the evangelist can't see. Nobody can see it but God. And He said, if I can get this attitude off,
Amen.
and this bitterness out,
Right.
if I can get this unconcern and this apathy away, boy, it hurts getting that stuff tore off.
Right.
We resist it like that ear of corn. I don't want to let go. But the corn's much better off without the shucks than it is with the shucks. The pecan's much better out of the shell than it is in the shell. And you and I are better from God when He gets done with us than when He starts with us. You see, we've been saved, but He's not through.
Amen.
Right. No great thing not to have great trials. Where's my mark? God always gives us the trial we can bear. God keeps the pressure up so we let go. The trials are not meant to hurt fruit. I think about trials, you can't hardly go very far. Do you think about Job? Boy, did he go through trials? I think I mentioned the other night that the servant stood one at a time and said, these animals are gone, and then finally your children are gone. Job lost everything that he had but his wife. And even she tried to get him to go back on God.
Right.
Dost thou yet retain thine integrity? Curse God and die. And basically, Job says one word, and the word is what? And he might have said what, but I think he said what? Matters how you say it.
Right.
So we serve God when times are good, then little trials come along, and God fixed her up. She was pregnant for 9 months. 9 people, 10 more kids, 9 months a kid, 90 months. That's a long time to hang over the toilet every morning. And I know some of you sitting here and I say, yeah, but I'm too old. So was Sarah. That didn't trip God up one bit.
Right.
I have this mental picture. Excuse me just a minute. I don't want to run around it. I have this mental picture of Abraham and Sarah in the Walmart. 100.
Right.
And she's in her 90s. I can see them. Loaded Panthers in there. They get to the checkout, and you know that guy behind the cashier gives him a dirty look. What do you load that? You dirty little. Trials are not meant to hurt the fruit. Meant to enhance the fruit. And the last thing is this. Someday the trial will be over.
Amen.
I like what he said. Break corn is bruised because he will not ever be threshed. I've seen those farmers pull up wheat field out in Texas. They grow it in sections. That's 1 mile square section. And my daddy used to break ground, new ground, with a D8 cap and 3 foot deep blade. D8 cap. They put a mercury switch on the top of the cap. Had a wire running up to it, and then a tube of mercury, and the wire running down. So if that deep plow grabbed a root or a rock and raised up, the mercury run to one end and kill the engine. It'd fall back down.
Yeah.
You can come back over on it. When those farmers pull up a pickup, go out there and strip the top of that wheel off and drop it in the hand. Crush it and roll it. Sometimes they get in a truck and let it go for another week. But there comes a time when you sit down there and crushes it, blows it. And the next thing you see is the combine. See, the trial isn't always going to be on us. The sooner we yield to him, the sooner the trial will be over.
Right.
I'm amazed sometimes when I think about some of the things that God has taken us through. Not just me, but you too. God's taken us through some things. Why did he do that? It isn't because he hates us. It's because he wants to get that good that's down inside of us out where it can accomplish what he wants us to do. Like I said, when we get saved, we got attitudes and ideas and opinions. Most of it we have baggage from how they did it before we got here. Sing 3 songs, take an offering, sing 3 songs and preach. Sing 3 songs, take an offering, sing 3 songs and preach.
Yeah.
When the preacher gets up, 3 points a poem and a sad dog story. That's why the Lord said in Revelation 3, behold, I stand at the door. The application's been made of him standing at the lost person's heart's door and asking entrance, but that's not the primary application.
Right.
That's secondary at best. The first application, he's standing outside the church. I know you're in there having services. You let me in, we have a time.
Yeah. Right.
But they, like we, have learned to have church without God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Amen.
And I'm as guilty as anybody. And God is in the process of taking some stuff off of me. And it don't feel good, it hurts, I don't like it,
Yeah.
but I'm not running the show.
Right.
And the thing I want to do is you know, let him do the work. Heads are bowed, eyes are closed. Heads bowed, eyes closed for just a few moments. Ladies come to the Father, how we love you tonight. Lord, we thank you for Thank you for working on us. I don't like it very good. I know it needs to be done. I can't see it when you start, but I can see it when it's over. I didn't need that at all in my life. Lord, I pray that you'd not only deal with my heart, but you'd deal with somebody here tonight. Lord, let them know that you're doing something in them and through them and with them. Not to honor them, but to honor you in your name. Help us in Jesus' precious name. Amen. Will you stand with us? Heads are bowed, eyes are closed. As the ladies begin to play and find a place in the altar, I want to invite you to come tonight. Now repent with bitter tears. Father, why is my trial so big? Why is my valley so deep? Because, son, you got some gold inside you. Because, sister, you got some gold inside you. If I can get this junk off, the gold will shine. Coming home. Never more to roam. Let's do the chorus. Help me with the chorus. Coming home, coming home, never more to roam. Hope and my arms of love. Lord, I'm coming home. Do it again. Coming home, coming home, never more to roam. Hope and my arms of love. Lord, I'm coming
You know, sometimes you get thinking about the message that God's preaching. And it amazes me how many Christians run from God as soon as